Hi all, welcome. My name is Markus Potter and I'm the producing artistic director of NewYorkRep. On behalf of our staff and board of directors, we heartily welcome you to this reading of Mayday by Melissa Lee and Kit Yan. We commissioned this piece as part of the Play at Home series, an initiative where regional theaters across the country came together to commission artists to create new work to help keep art alive during this frightening moment in time. So we thank you to all of those partners, and a heartfelt thank you to Kit and Melissa. What a tremendous collaboration. We thank you kindly for pouring your heart and soul into this piece. Also a thank you to our cast, Hennessy, Catherine Ricafort, Marc delaCruz, and Ruthie and Miles. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for your incredible contribution this week. After tonight's reading, we'll have a quick discussion with the artistic team, myself, and the cast, so stick around for that. And in a moment, you'll meet Melissa Lee and Kit Yan, our co-creators, and then first I'll introduce you to Gail Waxenberg, our executive director. And finally, if it is within your means to contribute a small $5, $10, $20 donation this evening, we would be so deeply appreciative. There's a link up in your screen where you can click and head. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Melissa Lee will be mentioning another organization as well. So again, if you could contribute to both or one of us, we would all be tremendously appreciative. Thank you again for being here this evening. And here is Gail Waxenberg.
Thanks, Marcus. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Tonight's event represents our commitment to keeping theater alive during COVID, and especially keeping artists employed. And we intentionally are bringing you a short piece of theater because I think we all agree that we're suffering from screen fatigue these days. Moving forward to the fall, we have already commissioned 6 playwrights of color to bring pieces to us on issues of racism, and we'll be presenting them to you in October on 2 consecutive Sundays, October 18th and October 25th, and we'll share more information about those presentations with you towards the end of the summer. With no further ado, here is Melissa Lee. Enjoy your evening.
Hi, welcome friends. We're Melissa Lee and Kit Yan, the creators of Mayday, and we're grateful to be gathered here today for this reading. I'd like to take a moment just to acknowledge that we are creating art in an unprecedented time amidst a global pandemic and a national uprising. We are supporters of the movement for Black lives, and we would like to highlight a campaign called Asians for Black Births, an organization working at the intersection of racial and reproductive justice. For those of you who are able to donate, please check out the link in the chat for more details, and we'll be matching the first $200 of contributions today.
Mayday is a short 10-minute musical commissioned by NewYorkRep as part of the Play at Home project. This piece was inspired by real-life events here in Hawaii, where I am right now, and where I was during the missile alert. This piece is deeply personal, and for me, it's about connecting earth justice and wartime trauma with family, home, and finding hope, which we think will resonate with everyone today. Thank you so much to NewYorkRep for supporting this work, and to this incredible cast for adding their important perspectives, meaning, and aloha.
Aria.
Wind.
Yep.
Sam Choi's.
Pretty good pick for a first date, right?
Best local moco I ever had.
Exactly. If the date goes south, at least the grinds are good.
Hey, did you go to Pearl City?
I did. Oh shit, Ari! Junior Luau Queen 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. You're the Wind. The one who kept hiding durian in Mr. Nakamura's bookshelf until they finally had to move the class to the gym.
That's right! The wind is coming! Yeah, that was like one of my greatest hits. Wow. It's been what, like 15 years? How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm a certified esthetician now, so I help out at my parents' spa during the week. On weekends, I Uber for a little extra. How you stay?
I'm a software engineer at the university.
Wow, big shot.
Nah.
God, you're always good at the, computer stuff.
Humanity's greatest achievement.
All right, nerd.
What are you? You still dancing? Oh, you were so good. You remember when you incorporated hula into cheerleading? Gee.
I can't believe you remember that. Oh, my mom was both offended and impressed.
Oh, no one could forget it. You had a ton of secret admirers. My friends couldn't stop talking about you.
Well,
Yeah.
what about you? Another Amber Alert? Hurricane warning?
No, hold on.
What is it?
It's a missile.
A what?
Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii in 10 minutes. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. What the fuck?
This is not a drill.
Oh shit, it's all over Twitter. Everyone in Hawaii got it. Oh. Ma, yeah? Yeah, no, I saw it. No, Ma, are you inside? Okay, I'm in an Uber headed toward town. I can come home now. What about Aunt Leilani, Philomar, and Sandy? Okay. And Grandpa Wally? Yeah, I'm right in front of the Pearl Harbor exit. Okay, I can be there in 1 minute. I'll get him. Okay, get inside.
Please pick up.
Your parents?
They're in Thailand for their anniversary.
Oh, shit, it's like 4 a.m. there. They're probably sleeping.
I just need to get through.
Ari, can you help me? I have to get my Grandpa Wally before it's too late.
I don't know. There's no time.
Please!
I can't. I need to go.
Do you need to get anyone from your family?
We don't have any more family on Oahu. It's just me.
Then let's get my grandpa.
I have to go home and try my parents again.
Well, they're safe. But Grandpa Wally, he could die alone. Come with us. Ari, please. We don't have much time, okay, before this thing hits. Grandpa!
Sup, Win? How you stay? Who's your friend?
This is Ari. Grandpa, listen to me carefully. You need to pack up right now. I'm taking us to Mom's and I'll explain on the way. Did you hear me? Grandpa, we have to go.
I'm not going.
Grandpa, a nuclear missile is going to be here in less than 8 minutes. We got a message on our phone like...
I saw it too.
Okay, so let's go. We have to hurry. We don't have much time.
No.
The alert says it's not a drill.
Who are you again?
An old classmate and an Uber driver.
Are you a classmate or a driver?
She's both. Come on, we have to go.
I'm actually more than just those two things. I have a cat named Cashew. I graduated Pearl City in '02 and then UH in '06, biology major, and I work at my family's spa, and now
No offense, but you're cool and beautiful, and maybe there's a chance I'll get to know you if we survive this. But Grandpa, we have to go.
I have a cat named Azuki. He comes when I call. Wanna see?
We don't have time for this. We have about 6 minutes before the missile hits.
I kind of want to see.
Watch. Azuki!
Dude, that's probably Mom calling you right now. Grandpa, I'll pick you up and carry you if I have to.
I'm not leaving the Loki. Technology is too loud for Azuki. Have I ever told you the story of how I met your grandma Vehia?
Crouched on the ground. Come on, let's go. We only have 5 minutes left.
December 1941, we were keiki practicing May Day. Sounds of laughter, sounds of fun, showing off our step and sway. We were singing Paniolo Country, her grandma made me laugh. She tickled my ear, I was 8, Vahia 7.5. But the sirens blared as we danced in line, and we all knew it's not a drill this time. We dropped to the ground with fear, and Vahia, she whispered in my ear, do not be afraid. Everything's okay. We'll never have tomorrow. We only have today. Let's dance like it's May Day. I started to cry over all the things I still have yet to do. Play my pogs, eat hollow hollow, learn double Dutch after school. Make a yellow ginger lay for mommy, catch papillo with my cousin Tommy. Vahia softly spoke as she held my hand. Things don't always go the way we plan. Do not be afraid. Everything's okay. We'll never have tomorrow. We only have today. Let's sing like it's May Day. We did not get hurt that day, but our world turned upside down. People died, our harbor was on fire. Families were torn apart, my home a battleground. The smoke was rising higher and higher. Take a look beyond those trees, bones still buried on the ocean floor. Every day we work the earth to restore the land to what it was before. What I learned in 1941 is you aren't what you've left to do. You are what you've done.
So wind, it's up to you if you like leave. But my legs are roots. My limbs are trees. The only way to fight death is to live.
Do not be afraid. Everything's okay. We'll never have tomorrow. We only have today. Let's live like it's May Day. Let's live like it's May Day.
Don't know when you'll get this, but I just wanted to say I love you.
Your phone is disturbing my calo.
There's only a minute left.
Then let's make use of it.
What? Ari?
I like this girl.
There isn't much we can do now, is there?
So, tell me more about biology, huh?
All right, well done. Virtual round of applause for this team. Well done, well done. So, Kit and Melissa, when we first met to discuss ideas for this commission, you brought some amazing ideas to the table, from a Cambodian American girl lands in Paris to find love on Tinder, to a story of gender fraud. There's so many tremendous ideas swirling in your imagination. You ultimately arrived at this moment in time where tensions with North Korea were at a boiling point. Kit, can you take us back to that moment when you received the missile alert and how it inspired this musical, and how does that moment for you relate to our current moment in time?
Thanks so much, Marcus. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're so grateful and honored that you're here. And thanks to this incredible cast for bringing this piece to life in ways that we couldn't have even imagined. So when we first talked about doing this commission, there were a lot of ideas floating in our minds, and ultimately Melissa and I talked about it, and we landed at what are some 10-minute stories we had to tell for a 10-minute musical. And because I'm in Hawaii right now, shout out to Waipahu, Waipio, Hawaii, and all the Pearl City High School grads watching. We talked about place and where we were, and we actually just checked in with ourselves to ask, like, how are we feeling about the pandemic, and what was happening around us. And you know, like this story where I was about to volunteer at a lo'i near Pearl Harbor, near Pearl Ridge, and that sort of just came to the surface as a sort of like a repressed memory. I was like, oh my gosh, that was 10 minutes in my life that was really intense, that I brought up to Melissa, and she asked me a bunch of questions to sort of like ask why that was on the top of my mind. I don't know if Melissa, you want to jump in and talk about our creative process here.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought that was one of the things that was so suitable for this type of project, where it was like just 10 minutes, you know, it seemed like the perfect amount of time to tell this story, based on like what had happened to you. And so we were just processing sort of like what you're feeling then. And yeah, and I think from there, just talking through, okay, like, so who are our characters, and what are the lessons that we want to take away from this? And so I think you actually, Kit, you were spending time with an actual Grandpa Wally at the time, right?
Actually, it's Uncle Wally.
Oh, it's Uncle Wally.
We made a grandpa in here. Shout out to Uncle Wally and Bahia and Lori, all people watching right now.
Yeah, I think we were just thinking about, like, because Uncle Wally at the time was actually pretty calm in real life, like what actually had happened. And so we were thinking about, well, like where did he come from? What were the lessons in his life that brought him here, and to be able to be so calm in this moment? So we were exploring that.
Absolutely. And we started talking about this maybe in March, and it was a moment in which, like, Melissa and I were kind of freaking out about the pandemic, and so we were sort of just like centering ourselves in what that moment meant, and times in our lives that we had felt this way in the past.
Awesome. And thank you everyone for being here once again. If you have any questions for Kit and Melissa or our cast, feel free to tweet at us, NYRep Theater, at NYRep Theater, and throw a hashtag Ask New York Rep. And if you have any questions, we'll do them live here, or after the fact, we'll still keep responding to you. Kit and Melissa, in the casting notice under the character descriptions in the script, you encourage transgender and non-binary actors to also be cast in other cisgender or gender non-specific roles. The character of Wind, played by Hennessy, is written as a non-binary character. Melissa, you've mentioned that it's important for you to create roles for actors on the trans and gender non-conforming, non-binary spectrum. Can you tell us a little bit about why that's important to you and why representation matters?
Yeah, I think if you know our work, if you know Kit and my work, you know that like for us, it's really important to have trans folks in these roles. I mean, people forget that, you know, trans people, they you know, have lives and they experience joy and sadness like everyone else, you know, and I just feel like there's no reason why there can't be more roles and more characters that are specifically for trans and non-binary folks. So Wind is a non-binary character, and Kit, please jump in and yeah, and tell us more about sort of
our
why
casting
that's
note is actually universal to all our projects. So every project, regardless of the content, has the same casting note that says we encourage folks who are from our communities of trans and non-binary and gender non-conforming families to audition for any and all roles. So this casting note is, we're trying to shift really the culture of I guess like making art in this space, and so it's important for us to just have that on all of our works, and also it's important for us to see our communities like in different stories too that are not necessarily about identity. That feels really important to us.
Marc, beautiful work as Grandpa Wally. Very well done. You were in Hamilton before COVID hit. As of now, do you know anything about your return? I know there's so many questions that we all have about when we're going to get back to our new normal, as it were. But are you still in contact with the company? How are you navigating that separation from your comrades in Hamilton right now?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me as a part of this project. It was so special to be a part of this piece, and given the fact that we're not performing in theaters right now, being able to be part of something like this that just has so much meaning and heart and is so moving, it was very healing, I think, to get to participate in something when we all just completely stopped. I was a part of Hamilton right up until the day Broadway shut down, and it was an abrupt transition for sure to go from 8 shows a week to suddenly like not at all, to seeing those people who become part of your family over the course of the time that you're there, and then suddenly you're not seeing them at all anymore. So it was definitely abrupt and sort of a shock to the system. But the Hamilton family is really great about staying connected and with communication. We've had lots of Zoom meetings with the creative teams and producers. We have a Zoom meeting every week, actually, that anyone from our company can join. We can just join in to this meeting and catch up with whoever's there that week. So it's a really nice way to stay in touch and to kind of stay like in each other's lives. Because the world in theater, I think, in a lot of ways is very family oriented. That when you work on something, the people that you work with, you get so close to, and then when you suddenly like can't do that anymore, it's hard, and there's a sort of a grieving process. So this piece for sure was, for me, was sort of like a refresher, like a way to just like connect with new wonderful people that are like family, and to remind myself why I love theater and telling stories.
Yeah, and I have to say, you all have lifted my spirits this week so much. We all obviously long to be in the same room together, but you know, being able to jump into this work just in this short week with a few hours we had is just so uplifting. So thank you all again. Ruthie, how has the pandemic affected your world and your creative spirit? I know that you're looking forward to Over the Moon, an animated feature that's coming out on Netflix this fall. So anything else in addition that you're looking forward to, and how are you handling this moment?
You know, it's interesting. At the end, so I'm filming a television show called All Rise on CBS, and we were in the second to the last episode that we were filming, the second to last episode, and halfway through that episode, really COVID started. And this was out in LA, and it really started spiking up there, and they were putting lockdowns on LA, and that's when we just stopped coming into work that night. We ended at 11 p.m. and we didn't see each other again. And you know, I was very, very pregnant, and we decided that it was safer for us not to be in LA. And it was about 2 weeks later, after we stopped filming, maybe 3 weeks later, we got a message from one of our producers saying, "Hey, let's hop on a Zoom call. We have an idea for another episode." And we're like, "Oh, well, we've already left LA. We're not there anymore. We don't know how this is going to happen." We ended up doing a Zoom episode right on this very wall behind me. And it was really interesting because this is unprecedented times, right? We have to make do. We create art. We do things that inspire us. And let me tell you, it is my favorite episode of 20 some odd episodes that we had, and it is my favorite. And on this very wall, I have had red carpets. I have had, just like this, we've done live readings. I've done interviews, like you mentioned, Over the Moon. That is an animated feature film that is coming out on Netflix this fall. And we recorded it earlier in the year, 2020, maybe even late 19. But we had the press junket here on Zoom style. And it's really interesting how we kind of adapt and we make things work for us. And so, yeah, while everything is crazy and we don't know how we're going to find a new normal, we're adapting. And like Marc, like what you said, we find ways to create, and we find ways to inspire ourselves and each other. And yeah, we hop on Zoom all the time, and we have these FaceTime and Zoom and all the other computer magic. That's how I'm coping, Marcus.
Yes. You know, one special thing about this company, this cast, is you all have Hawaiian roots. Hennessy, I know you have deep ties to Hawaii. Anything you want to mention about your experience in Hawaii, or friends that you knew that had that experience, this specific moment in 2018? And also, I know you're working on that doc about the jazz musician Billy Tipton, written by Amos Mack and Aisling Chin Yi. That's making its debut at the Toronto International Film Festival this fall. A similar question to you: what should we know about Hawaii and your roots there, and your experience in this moment, and about this project, and anything else that's on your mind?
It is, I'm full of gratitude to be here, to be able to work on this project with all of you guys, and to be able to work with other people from Hawaii. It's really special to me. We all kind of have this thing in common, you know. Like I was saying, I think like our first rehearsal, like when you meet someone from Hawaii, especially on the mainland or in a big city, or on Zoom even, you know, it's like, I don't know, you just come from the same place. It's I don't know. Growing up there was very special for me, and it's an honor to be a part of a story rooted um, in my route, where I was from. The ballistic missile threat was crazy. It was a flash and then it was over. I remember talking to my friends and family that were in the islands. I was in New York City, and just being like, what the hell is going on? And like for 30 minutes after it came in, people were just freaking out. I had a very similar reaction to wind, to the whole situation. I know my buddy, who I also live with, we went to high school together. Also, Nathaniel, his mom called him and was like saying her last goodbyes, And so it just happened so quickly. Like, what a crazy traumatic event. It just happened so quickly. It's like, yeah, no one really ever gave it much thought after the initial, shock of it. But I really appreciate Kit and Melissa for writing about this moment, and it just kind of makes us realize how fragile we all are and how dangerous, we are to each other. And also just, on Grandpa's end, like just calling attention to living in the moment, taking things one day at a time and one minute at a time, a moment at a time. And that's really the important part of living life, which is how I've been getting through this pandemic, basically, grandpa style, just sort of taking things one moment is sort of like a living meditation. Yeah. Right now, like just taking it as it comes. But, yeah, aloha yabaoe. I love all of you guys, and to all my local family in Ohana, like calling in and everything. I'm really blessed to be a part of this and grateful.
Hi, Catherine. There's a question on Twitter I'll throw your way from Kelly Lynn. Kelly says, as someone who is very into representation, I would love to know from everyone, when was the first time you saw yourself represented in musical theater? And who are the Asian theater people out there that we should be looking for now, besides the stunning Kit and Melissa, of course?
That's a great question. Let's see. I don't know if there was like a first time that I saw a moment on stage when I was like, that's what represents me. Actually, it probably happened when I have a brother, and his rapper name is Super Smack. He's a nerdcore rapper, and he writes about being a product manager who's also an Asian American, who's also a musical theater actor, who's also a badass rapper, and loves to play Super Smash Brothers. And I think watching him perform, just for me, when he was testing out like his first pieces of work, that's when I was like, that there is someone who represents like all the things that I'm about. I love this line that Ari has in the piece that we just read, where she's like, I'm more than just those two things. I'm also this and I'm also that. And I think that was the first, I'm getting children now talking about it, because I've always felt that like I, as an Asian American, am kind of just like more broad than all the examples that I'd seen in theater kind of a lot of the years growing up, and even in film and TV. And I'm so grateful that in today's scene that we have great organizations like NewYorkRep supporting creators like Melissa and Kit. I think that it's so important to have on the creative side, writers, producers represented, not just actors. I think that for us to reach like true representation, it has to come from all fronts, not just like the actors that you see on the screen or on the stage. So that's something that's been really special about this process. And I've just taken a lot of inspiration from not just fellow actors, but people who dare to create. Like that's something I'm trying to challenge myself to do more, especially during COVID, since actually I'm trying to think of, there's a bunch of doors that have been closed on us, but it also forces you to kind of bash down new doors. And now that I'm like, taking a pause from New York City, I'm like, oh, there's so much space. Oh, I can play with the camera. Maybe I can, I'm like dreaming of music video ideas here in my, this bigger space in my apartment. And I want to help contribute to telling Asian American stories that are authentic and broad. So that's my answer.
Right on. Awesome. Kit, a question for you specifically here from ZO_ING. How does your background as a nationally touring award-winning slam poet informed the making of Mayday?
This is my roommate, so this is a troll. You know what? But I will go for it because poetry is very important to me in terms of like the kind of work that I create and writing with Melissa, particularly like this. You know, when we write lyrics and we write story together, yeah, I think what poetry can do is poetry can get to the heart of things. Poetry is like oftentimes more emotional and less narrative, although I really love narrative, which is why I was drawn to musical theater. And musical theater particularly blends emotion and narrative when there's song and movement. And so I will never like forget that I like started writing poetry, and I will never forget that like there's something really lyrical and beautiful in your feelings through poetry. And then that's sort of, you know, then I hand it over and work with Melissa to find the meaning in the words and to bring that meaning out even more deeply. But I will say oftentimes it is Melissa doing the work of lifting that up that makes the words like sing.
Right before the shutdown, Kit and Melissa, you had opened the world premiere of your musical Interstate at Mixed Blood in Minneapolis. It was getting rave reviews. I think you had 8 performances. The Village Voice described it as a glorious pop rock musical about inclusivity, queer and trans community, and the open road. Is there any plans for next steps of that piece once the world reopens?
Yes. Kit, what can we say about it?
We can say that it will come back.
Yes, it will have a life.
We're still working on it.
I got a tweet from your agents. They say anything, go for it. It's right here.
Oh, our agent said say anything. Oh. Marcus is the troll.
You know, I'm so grateful that you brought up Interstate. I know there's a lot of Interstate family on here today, so shout out to y'all who have made it possible for us to write Mayday, because you know every piece informs each other. It's like a whole beautiful web of like creativity and family. And it was sad that it shut down during the pandemic, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment, and it helped us learn about the piece. And we can definitely say that, you know, theaters are announcing sort of like seasons that say we're gonna make theater at some point. And so we've had some announcements like that come out about Interstate. So we will hopefully bring it back when it's safe for our folks to gather. Particularly, you know, our audiences are full of queer and trans folks of color, Asian American folks, families where our kupuna and our elders and seniors are with the whole crew coming to see the show. And so safety is like number one to us. And so when we can gather again, we will. But until then, we're grounding ourselves in what's important and what's right in front of us. I don't know, Melissa, if you have anything to add?
That's a great answer. I think that's, yeah, there'll be more Interstate soon. So,
you know, and that theme of what is important, that's the first thing that really resonated with me after I read that first draft and heard about this idea. We're all in this moment collectively of asking ourselves that question, what matters in this world? And that's what this piece has really done for me, to continue to ask that question and to allow us to ruminate on what matters in this world. So thank you for bringing this piece to us, and thank you to the cast once again for diving into this work. It was a thrilling week. And to everyone who joined us tonight, thank you for being here with us once again. We really appreciate your time and attention. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you to you all again. And we'll sign off and go hit the virtual bar, and we'll be back soon. Thank you.